Welcome, everyone, back to another episode of Round the Rotary with me, JP Warren. And with us today, we got a good buddy of mine, Gabe Jackson, who is the Executive Vice President of Sales and Marketing at Tactical Oilfield Communications. How you doing today, Gabe?
I'm good, JP. How you doing, brother?
Pretty good. Thanks for joining us today. For those that don't know, we are currently in the stay-at-home orders. As I guess the previous episodes have been, we are doing this remotely for Zoom. Via Zoom, so please excuse any communications interruptions or lag or anything like that. So, Gabe, how you handling this this Groundhog Day we're faced with?
Man, it's been rough every day. You wake up and it's the same thing. It's like when I was in the military. I was on a ship for 6 months, and I'd wake up and it was the same color. Only thing you could do is go out there and look at the sun, let it blind you.
Well, the good part is, though, I guess the difference between this and that is we wake up, there's a lot of good, refreshing, upbeat news to read, not just with the oil and gas industry, but the entire global economy.
Yeah.
Right? So let's kick this off. Give us a little background about yourself.
Well, man, I got out of the military in 2007. I went straight
so you said Navy previously, correct?
Yeah, Navy.
Okay, all right.
I got out in 2007, went straight into the oil field. I had a cousin that worked slick line, and they hired me up, made me a slick line hand, worked there for a while, and I decided, man, I want to do something. I want to make a difference in the oil field. You know, I just don't want to sit behind this wire line running and hearing it clean all day long. So went into the communications part of the oil field. It's a very small little community, you know, part of a big community in the industry. But it's very important. It's very important from a product standpoint, what you're putting out, what you're doing. You can lose sight of how important that well is while they're drilling, and people need to communicate to make that happen.
So you said that you were, operating a slick line, but you want to do something that was that added what would you say, value or make a difference?
Yeah,
in the
value.
Make a difference.
Make changes.
So why did you choose communication to get into?
Man, it just seemed like the right move for me at the time. I started out as a hand in the field. I was a technician, and the previous company I was at, I was there for about 10 years, worked my way up from just a tech in the field all the way to corporate sales for them.
So how did you make that jump from field sales to sales? Field sales. I'm sorry, from a field hand to sales.
Well, I did it while I was working in the field. I put back in the day. I don't know if you're familiar with, but they had VSAT, and we still do. But I would load a VSAT in the back of my truck, and my goal for the day was to go sell that VSAT to somebody.
Okay, all right.
Because I thought it was superior,
All right. So from you said being important. So you got into communication. Well, give us more your career background versus kind of what you do now.
Okay,
so start off in the field. You
hit
moved
the field. 2007. Spent about 4 months as a tech. Then I was promoted to field supervisor. Ran that Arclotex area for about 3-4 years. Then I was promoted to corporate for the communication side of the department of the company I was at.
All right.
Went there, spent about a year doing operations for the region. I was over the entire southern region. Then I started selling for that product line. We started off with training guys like Charlie Hansen. Shout out to Charlie. Learning how to sell this product, and I just went in and did it myself. Did that for about 2 years, and then I moved over to corporate sales for them, and the rest is history, man. I got to meet you.
Well, man, I've got to meet you too. So talk to me about, with everything going on today, the stay-at-home orders issued, people, not only operators working from home, but I guess more remote communications. Man, give us kind of what that looks like, I guess, in your world. How has that changed or accelerated what you sell for communications?
Well, it's going to accelerate it. I wouldn't say at the current moment it's doing that. It seems like there's a shock and awe in the industry. Everybody is trying to see what's going to happen.
Right.
But what it does for us is people see that you can communicate from a remote standpoint anywhere. You can have a virtual office per se.
Right.
You don't need to be in an office working to get something done. And that's what you're dealing with in the oil field. These guys they're in a trailer hundreds of miles out in the field, and there's no infrastructure out there. There's no way for them to talk unless they hire a company to do it. So it's very important to look at the aspect of communications all around at this point in time, because you're communicating with me through Zoom, and I guarantee you that's what everybody else is doing right now.
So and I'll tell you what, I kind of feel like that's kind of being the normal operating procedure. I mean, most people right now are. I mean, before this, I was just on a Zoom meeting. I feel like the Zoom virtual meetings or virtual get-togethers, whatever that is going to be kind of more the standard. I think people are going to start utilizing Zoom more just because they're more comfortable with video conferencing versus working in an office with their team.
Absolutely. And we have the infrastructure now. You're pulling in 5G, so having a communication between me and you right now, there could be some moments where it staggers,
right?
And there's some problems there, right? And with this 5G coming out, you're not going to have that.
And 5G, for the record, does 5G cause COVID-19?
Now, I wouldn't say that. Now, I'm not an expert, but by any means. But know what it does cause. It causes extreme communication.
Well, that's one of the theories that are out there now, that 5G is kind of the culprit behind all this. They're cutting wires and everything. So I guess kind of what separates, the company you're at right now, Tactical Oilfield Communications. I guess providing. So when you say what do you actually provide to these field offices or trailers?
So we're taking, and it's not, I think that's historically, that's the problem. People think, okay, we're going to go put a box inside of a trailer and we're going to give that customer an opportunity to communicate back to its office or home or whatever. We're kind of doing things a little bit different here at Tactical. We're trying to have it for the life of the well. We want to put it don't have to be in a house. It doesn't have to be in the directional driller company man's. It can be outside, or it can be in the house. Our products are fully customizable. So what we're trying to do is light up that whole location. We want everybody to be able to talk. We want it to be a virtual office for everybody. And with the infrastructure now, you can do that.
Okay. So you kind of make the whole location kind of a hotspot.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're talking about doing things that people don't think about, outside the box, hooking up these guys for frac vans, hooking up wireline trucks so they can communicate real time back to their office, so they can send their reports back over real time so they can see it.
And so your company has kind of a different approach at this. I mean, it kind of correlates back to your time being in the Navy, correct? I want you to speak to that. I mean, I think it's such an awesome thing that y'all are doing, and the listeners aren't familiar with it, but you and I kind of talked about this before. Discuss kind of how you're helping military veterans find work and get careers, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir. So that's a big part of what we do, and it's really important to us. What we're doing is taking the company is military themed. We wanted to do something so we can take our past life and incorporate it into what we do now. Because the guys that are part of this executive team, they're just top notch, and these guys have been there for a long time, as well as myself. I'm not patting myself on the back by no means, but I've done it for a long time. We know what needs to be done and how to make it right, and how to hit that niche per se, like what we were just talking about. So we bring these guys in that are veterans, that are maybe struggling. They may have been in the military previously and are trying to move over, transition to civilian life, or some of them have been here for a while, and they just want something different. They want something that they can be proud of, the camaraderie. Because when you have veterans, you've ever been in a room with veterans? These guys are crazy, man. They have a different kind of idea of what's funny.
Right.
So we bring these guys over and we try to give them a home, do different things. The way we dress, we wear tactical vests with all kinds of tools on them. We don't wear the normal just wrap around belts. We're just trying to do it a little bit different. And another thing we want to do is have a corporate liaison between the VA and our company, so they can work with the VA for our guys that are working with us, so they can get them all the benefits that they want. That's one of our big dreams. It's not there yet, but we're working for it, man. We're getting there slowly.
So you're kind of guiding it to give these military veterans an opportunity to jump back into civilian life, but also utilize what they've learned, I guess, in their time in the service.
Correct. So, I've hired, I mean, don't get me wrong, that, civilians, you got some guys that are great, but most of the time when you have a veteran, these guys have a set of ideals and they understand that they have to have honor in everything they do. They have to follow a chain of command. And it just works out in what I do, what we do as a company. It works out to the best benefit when it's a veteran sitting there. And what really makes it good is taking this guy that's struggling and maybe putting him in a position to where he can be successful, or girl.
So they're really kind of you're kind of building your corporate culture based on I guess helping veterans.
Absolutely. That's what we want to do.
That's awesome. Well, let's kind of get back to this whole pandemic thing. So how do you see this whole pandemic and people working in, I guess, in isolated offices? How do you see this affecting how people communicate and host meetings or stuff like that?
Yeah, it's going to change everything that, how we do everything.
In what ways?
Your hustles game is going to be different. You're going to, watching you put on these, FaceTimes with your friends and customers. That's the kind of stuff that we got to be doing. I was playing poker, that face poker with a couple of my buddies, yesterday.
But dude, honestly, that's what it's all about. Times like this, it's such an isolating feeling right now. And if you don't make that effort to stay in touch with people or to be relevant or to chime in and text your buddy, either who's, down on his luck or lost his job or who's just kind of head in the sand right now, you need to continue these relationships and your networks. I think that is crucial right now. And I think you playing poker, doing virtual happy hours, doing virtual dinners, I think these are the type of things that are going to kind of shape the new culture, the oilfield culture moving forward. It's going to be the networks that you have. And times that we can't interact, we can't go to lunches or do breakfast runs or any meetings. It's going to be one of those things where this is the relationships will be maintained through being innovative, through talking.
Absolutely. I think that during this time, it's going to thrust us into a much needed sense of innovation in the oilfield industry. You got a lot of guys that are 30-year hands that have been there for a long time, and you try to tell them that you want to have a virtual office out in the field, they're going to look at you like you're crazy. Okay, yeah. If you take a guy that's been in there for 5 years and they understand technology, and say, hey, I want to make this location virtual. I want to make you more efficient. They're gonna. Boom.
That's the thing. I don't see this as just being a change in innovation or skill sets in the oil field. For example, my father is a professor now. He's retired and has been a professor. And one of the things that kind of separates him, he's always been on the cusp of technology. And there's a lot of professors out there, whether it's whatever industry it is, that don't know how to host these virtual classrooms or these virtual seminars or lessons. And it's going to be one of those things that the skill sets that are going to matter is going to be those people that do know how to utilize the technology out there.
Absolutely. You get a 30-year hand that can't get on a Skype call or a Zoom, I don't want to make anybody mad.
It just bogs down the chain of communication.
Yeah. Then that's where it's going. You can't stop it. It's like cars, man. People used to ride horses. Now they're in cars. It's going to be the same thing.
It's going to evolve.
It's going to evolve. You're talking about a guy talking about you're not going to be able to shake hands after this, right? That's what we do. We work in a relationship business. We sell to people that like us, right? You create these relationships, and if you can't go shake their hand, how are you going to talk to them? This is it. This is the new way.
Got to be innovative. And kind of speaking to that relationship side of the business right now, I know that we always speak about that's the most important thing in our industry, and that's what gives people the work. That's what makes people choose the operator, choose a service company. But with everything going on right now, do you view that relationship as being important, or do you view as a price, low cost being crucial right now, or maybe moving forward to get work as an oilfield service company?
Man, it's going to be both, man. You have to be able to be flexible. The customer and the service provider have to be flexible for one another. They got to say, okay, what is going to be the best for both of us? What's going to be the happy medium here, okay? Because if you just say, hey, I'm going to get this work because I'm going to give you the lowest price. You're going to get the worst service because it's the lowest price, right?
You pay for what you get.
Depending on what you're going on. Now, from my perspective, I don't think that's the situation. I think that it's important to come into it thinking, okay, I'm gonna go talk to my customer. I'm gonna say, hey, look, this is where I can make money. Where can you make money? Where can we find where we help each other out through this downturn or pandemic? We help each other out and move forward from this, not try to take one away from the other. Like it just doesn't work like that. You got to have an open mind. I listened to your other podcast, them saying, hey, just being straight up honest. Hey, look, it's about price right now. Okay, well, that's fine. But let me give you some good service as well. So let's come to an agreement to where, hey, my margins are going to be okay. I'm going to be able to keep in business, and you're going to be looking good as well. But when this is over, we're going to have to go back up. We all making money.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I would hope there'd be some shift. I remember in the last downturn, I remember there was a huge push for relationships are out the window, and everyone's just going on low cost. And from people, it was unfortunate people choosing low cost because some companies can't get to that low cost price, whatever that is. And I did see a lot of companies actually it costing them, on their projects. For example, if they do the cheapest whatever service it is, and that service does kind of have issues or mess up delivery time or getting on location, it ends up costing more in the long run, right?
Yeah.
And I'm hoping there will be some lessons learned from that going into this new industry where it isn't just about low cost. It should be. I know I was speaking to a buddy of mine. It shouldn't be low bid. It should be best bid.
Yes.
And that's where I think you're going to find companies and service companies getting through this together and both being happy and both, not having to give the shirt off their back.
Correct. When you're working for somebody, you want to have their best interests in hand, right?
Right.
So if I'm working for the Exxons of the world, I want to know what they need to do. I want to know how to make them more efficient, but on a good scale of pay to make sure that we're both able to float through this.
Right.
That's what it's all about, value-added partnerships. If we can't do that together, it's not going to happen. You're going to see people get eaten up, businesses shut down. It's very important to work with your client and then work with you back. And that's part of having a relationship with them. That's where it's at.
And that's again echoing. I'm hoping that the low cost bid is kind of glanced over, but in reality, it's the relationship. It's working with the operators working with the service company or rig contractors, and finding a happy medium where the operators are getting what they want without sacrificing the quality.
Correct.
So
well said, JP. Well said.
Well, I've had a lot of time to think about what I'm going to say being in quarantine. So how, coming out of once the dust settles, once the fires are out, what opportunities do you see, even if it's not just the oil and gas industry, but I guess moving forward, for the people in the industry, what opportunities do you see for people in our industry, whether it's staying in our industry or moving out? Okay.
So, I'm sure everybody at this point, because this is what the third downturn in
10 years.
12-year period. Yeah. So, I know guys that have left this and, they're not making the kind of money they were, but they're happy, right? If you're not doing something that makes you happy, you need to find your happiness, right? So I think that this is an opportunity for everybody. You're going to have two people. Okay. You're going to have the guy that buries his head in the sand and says, nobody's doing anything. I'm not going to do anything. And then you got the guy that says, this is an opportunity for me. I'm going to go out. I'm going to find ways to talk to people, because that guy that wouldn't talk to you a month ago, he might be sitting in his house pulling his hair out because his kids, and maybe he just wants to talk to you at that moment. Yeah. So you're gonna have to, your hustle game's gonna have to be strong. Two types of people: you either just bury it or you get after it.
And so what does getting after it look like in your own home?
Calling people, man, staying on the phone, staying in contact, getting on these meetings. Virtual poker, happy hours. You should be doing that. if you're going to have a product out for a customer, you should be engaging with them and checking to see how everything is doing.
So is this a good time to sell a product, or it sounds to me like it's a good time to strengthen those relationships, kind of
Absolutely.
what you're saying?
Absolutely.
So,
you should.
Go on.
You should be out there, just getting to know your customer right now. A lot of these guys don't have anything to give you, so you should be building your relationship, spending time with them. You got nothing but time here.
That's right.
Just make the best of it.
I think right now it's crucial. I mean, as people aren't sure what they're going to be doing next week or next quarter, or 2 quarters, shit, even through the rest of 2020, I think it's more important right now to reach out, build those relationships, and not just for them, but for you as well. I mean, it keeps a sense of mental stability. It keeps the level of optimism versus kind of burying your head in the sand and being pessimistic and just focusing on the news and the negative shit that's going on right now in our world.
I don't watch the news, man.
I don't either. I'll tell you what, I wake up and I give myself probably till about 7 a.m. to look at it. No more for the rest of the day.
Yeah. So
let's give what message do you have to communicate to our audience or a potential someone new coming in the industry or a recent grad? How about that? What words of wisdom do you have to a recent graduate who wants to get in the oil and gas industry?
Patience and creativity. You gotta, when you come into this and you're a new grad and you see what's happening out there right now, it can make you just straight up sad. I'm the kind of guy that if I'm sad, I don't sell well. If I'm positive, I'm getting after it.
Right.
So just make sure that, you keep a positive attitude. Look past this, because we're going to get past this. And this has happened before, not this, but we've had stuff happen. The oil field takes a dump and it comes back stronger than ever. And we're going to get there. You just have to, you got to look at the positivity in everything you do.
And what about to our fellow people that have been in the industry for several years, or some of our colleagues, Charlie Hansen, we're just talking about. Like, what message would you have to your network right now?
Don't give up. Do not give up. Keep going. Keep trucking along. Stay in touch with your client base, and always think positive, man. And do something every day that's going to make the world better. That's going to make you feel better. One single act of kindness can change everything.
That's right.
So do something good right now. You got all the time in the world to get it done.
Well, I like that message. Well, Gabe, thanks for coming on Round the Rotary. And if you have any questions for Gabe or myself, you can reach us at Round the Rotary at cap-petro.com. Again, that's Round the Rotary at cap-petro.com. Gabe, appreciate it, man. And I'll try to do one positive thing for you, buddy.
All right, brother. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, man. Take care.